event just seemed like the Cowboys, the Cowgirls just raised their game to a whole nother level and just showed out in a big way. And things are just continuing to heat up here in Las Vegas. And here we are again, another great episode, this time brought to you by Leviate Air Group, one of the great businesses, one of the great companies here in private aviation. So folks, if you're out there, maybe you want to give your family a special trip, special opportunity to fly private, and you think you want to try things a little bit more, a little bit better, check out Leviate Air Group. Also, if maybe you already have a jet looking to buy, sell, trade, a great place to go manage and help any of your sales and acquisitions here with Leviate Air Group. So thank you to Leviate for bringing us one of the greatest guests that I could ever ask to come on here and enjoy with us here today. One of the great rodeo people in the world, one of the great Cowboys, and does an awful lot for our sport. So folks, welcome, Cord McCoy.
Oh, what no, that's a tough intro to follow up, fill in some shoes. I think you were talking at the beginning of it of kind of what stories to talk about. And it's like the success and the failures have kind of made us who we are. But you think of Michael Jordan as making more game-winning shots than anybody ever in life. But the other thing that people don't look at, he's missed more game-winning shots, holds both records in that. And I think that's rodeo and our lifestyle and Western business as well. Sometimes you got to fail a few times to get to the top.
Yeah, well, and I mean that's a great leadway into just one of the greatest things that I love about you as a person and in our Western sports demographic, if you will, is because you just hustle. You're always working. You're in every aspect of life. It seems you're doing everything you possibly can to benefit this sport, benefit the Western lifestyle, and just so appreciative for everything you've done over your lifetime.
I've got in trouble several times with that. I just get so many irons in the fire. Not only supplying bulls here, doing the bucking bull fraternity, raising quarter horses, doing that competition, and producing rodeos, production. So sometimes I do get a little too spread out on too many irons in the fire. But it is, and in some years you don't know where the success is going to come from. You continue to grind and to try new things and do other things, and it's easy to get to December here at the National Finals Rodeo and to look back and say, man, I'm glad I did X, Y, and Z. But in the same thought, if you wouldn't have been working on those other things to build up, and some of them, the opportunities are just opening doors for what's going to happen next, and I think that's what we've really shown in 2025. It's experiences, even meeting you 15 years ago and, what it's built up to, the relationships that you get seems to open these doors to what you're doing today. I think back in the 90s, I wouldn't even had time to do all the stuff that I'm doing right now. I wouldn't have had time to ride bulls and do the other things as well. So, life is a process. We keep, grinding through it.
No, absolutely. And speaking of the 90s and back then, and all the different things that you've done, one of the things too that I've always kind of respected about you and a lot of different Cowboys and in general is the all around perspective. The ability to just be a true Cowboy, no matter what you're doing inside an arena. You've been to the Prairie Circuit Finals and the bareback ride and the saddle bronc ride and the bull riding, if I'm not mistaken. You've won IPRA titles in the saddle bronc riding. A lot of those things that people might, as time's gone on, as we're not spring chickens anymore, might have forgotten that you're such a great bronc rider as well.
Well, my hero, of course, through junior rodeos in high school was Ty Murray, and I was going to be the next Ty Murray. And even you talk about the national high school finals, like my freshman sophomore year, I didn't even make it to the high school finals in the bull riding in Oklahoma. Bareback riding was probably my best event. Just naturally to go into it. Bronc riding kind of started to excelling quite a bit when I was in college. Went to the college finals several times in the saddle bronc riding, a couple times in the bareback riding. And it was 2004. I was still doing all three events in rodeo. Just graduated college, and when doing college rodeo, in college rodeo, it's a 6-man team. It doesn't matter how many events you would do. So I felt like I brought more value to the team. I would do bareback riding, saddle bronc riding, and bull riding, and even rope, and tried to bulldog care for a little bit too. But that's a whole nother story. I had some good friends that would definitely match with some good stock. So I was still doing all three rough stock events professionally until 2004. When I had the bad head injury. And, when I started back, there were already people riding bulls with a helmet on. And, so I decided I would just ride bulls. fast forward another 18 months, I made the national finals rodeo. I got hurt in the third round and didn't get to ride the rest of the NFR. And after that, I thought, well, if I'm just going to ride bulls, I'm going to switch over to the PBR because they had so many big stops throughout the year to ride for a lot of money instead of just putting it all into 10 days. It's still the best 10 days in rodeo. I mean, I don't think anybody argue that. And it's so awesome to be here. And do you see just the whole Western culture take over Las Vegas? And, I think people limit it a lot to, whatever's watching on TV or, the 17,000 fans that are there that night. I mean, it's a way of life and a culture across Las Vegas that you get to share and experience. And I think it's cool now for me. I'm 45, but you walk out front and you see people that went to the NFR 25, 30 years ago. Now their kids are riding, and now you go to the Junior National Finals rodeo here. I mean, like you talk about a family, family business. And that's rodeo, and you could probably do that with, with farming, agriculture, horse training. Man, it's a lot of close ties, across, all of rodeo and Western.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, just yesterday I had the opportunity to have Lostro on and get a chance to talk with him. Now here he is, after his fantastic career, now just chasing those girls around and running barrels and poles and goat tying, and you're right, it is fun to kind of come full circle and see that. And I mean, you as an opportunity too, one of the great things that I love about all the different things that you're doing, but you can tell that you're also you're a husband and you're a father for first and foremost. And so but that all comes back into full wishing as well. So
it does. I think sometimes you feel like you're busy. And then I think of my dad. I lost my dad, and my family buried him, just a day before I come to Las Vegas last year. And you talk about the family and the rodeo family, and it was good for me to come here. And I think a lot of people in the rodeo family knew what was going on and felt my pain. It's almost like a comfort, coming to the NFR. But also I'm like, I think my dad is like, he wouldn't want anything different, to slow down and to move forward. So it is a family business, but just like I know Lostro, man, I've traveled with that guy. You talk about he's all in, 100% committed. But it's us, being an example for our daughters too. I mean, whether it's the hustle or the grind or the commitment that we do, I think we're setting an example for the next generation too.
Absolutely.
I think people have different ideas of, take all this time off and spend with your kids. I'm like, no, Tulsa, jump in. We're going to go, produce a rodeo, and we're going to go work for it and going to make it. So it's right. Several different ways to look at it, but I think whatever we're doing, we can be good examples for the next group.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when we're talking about your family and stuff, like I said, you've a great rodeo family all the way around. But before we kind of go on to kind of the next thing, I was, so you had the opportunity to go to the PBR finals multiple times, and obviously that ended up being a great choice for you at the end of the day when you kind of made that transition out of bucking horses and into the PBR.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of one step after another, and just kind of open more opportunities. I don't think there's a stage from Pee Wee rodeo to junior rodeo, high school rodeo, college rodeo, IPRA, PRCA, PBR, CBR. I mean, you can NRA, you can put them all in there, and I don't feel like I would take any of them out. They're all a step that's kind of taking you where you're at today. And so many of them, just like when you and I were walking in the lobby, there's people I hadn't done business with in 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
But you built a relationship with those people, and especially as a rodeo producer, or inviting contestants, and looking at a platform or rodeo grounds in every different angle. I think it was all those things that kind of made me who I am today. I've been the kid, trying to sneak behind the chutes to watch the rodeo. I've been the rookie to come in there and to try to scratch a living. I've been the old guy in there, and I've been the bull producer. I've been the rodeo stock contractor. Now I'm try to draw up a poster to sell a ticket. So I've seen about every angle there, and you don't forget about many of them.
Yeah, and you start to kind of, like I said, all those different contacts, relationships, and started to become a really well-rounded rodeo person, businessman, and it's coming to full fruition now with a lot of what you got going on right now. But when when you look at just that too, right? And this is kind of goes right into one of the other things I want to just kind of catch up on real quick. You talk about being a family and what all that entails, and your brother Jet being a great cowboy as well. And then, you know, I don't think it can be misunderstated too, that the opportunities that we have as a sport and needing to take it whenever you have the opportunity to reach out to outside of our demographic and help, you know, sell more cowboy hats and horses and however you want to look at it. You know, yourself and Jet having the opportunity to be on the Amazing Race all those, you know, those years ago, and the way that you represented cowboys was first class. You know, we've talked about it before in general, but you know, I don't think it could be understated how well you guys did and portrayed, you know, our demographic, you know, on those shows, and it looked like you had fun doing it.
Yeah, it wasn't. When we took off, we knew that we had our family name and we had cowboy hats on, and we knew we had 30 million people a week watching it.
It's a lot.
So we knew that we were viewed. Not that we had to change how we were acting, that we had to you know, do things different. But man, you'd be crazy if you didn't understand that you're representing the Cowboys, the way of life, Christians, Okies, McCoys, whatever, that you're representing everything that you have stood for your whole life.
Yeah.
Even though I might have you know, carried a rigging bag for 30 years, those 30, 35 days that you carried that backpack, you're carrying a lot of weight of representing a lot. And today though, I go all the way around the world on the Amazing Race 3 times to share other things, what other people are doing, what other countries do, and how they live and all that. And it brings me back to us again of like, man, we have got the coolest lifestyle. We get to do the coolest things, not only working with livestock, feeding the world, entertaining America with the sport of rodeo. And it's kind of like definitely trumped everything of, now I really want to share rodeo. Now I really want to go everywhere. And
I see that.
I've been coast to coast, you know, trying to share rodeo, and even flew from Dubai to Australia to, you know, everywhere, shopping around to do more events to share our way of life. And you know, you kind of feel the calling more now after going around the world. I mean, I think the Amazing Race kind of stirred that rodeo production in me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely could see that. I never watched the show before in my life, but I made sure I never missed an episode just because I wanted to have that one extra view to support you and to support our demographic.
I'd never watched it either. So I was leaving Cheyenne Frontier Days and I didn't even have TV. My brother Jet called me, said, hey, Corda, I got a great idea. 2-man team, race around the world, pays $1 million to win it. And so by the time, you know, after about a 30-minute conversation with Jet, you know, I was ready to, you know, sign up and do whatever, jump off a cliff and eat whatever. So, I didn't know anything about it, you know, but the Amazing Race is still going. They're probably 30 something seasons in now, and they still win all kinds of Grammys. So it was definitely a blessing to get the honor to make the show. The first time that we went, the Amazing Race 16, they had like 20 something thousand applications come in. Man. So just to get selected to go to represent us was such an honor. It's a blessing to go. I think you take off on the Amazing Race to start with to win the $1 million. There's like no doubt. That's what I'm racing for. But there's some place about halfway around the world, and I don't know what country it is, that, you know, you realize there's a bigger mission in there than just the money. And it's an honor. You know, they called us back the second time to ask if we would go. And of course we said, yeah, we'll go for sure. And then I said, when we're leaving, they said, we're leaving 1st of November. And I said, I can't do it. You know, I can't do it. I just got engaged before we left the first time. And my wife had been planning this wedding probably her whole life. And it was November 13th. So we turned it down. And about a week later, they called me back and said, hey, if we left November 14th, would you go? I said, let me make one phone call real quick. So I honeymooned with my brother Jet to go around the world on the second time we raced.
Well, you won a few trips though, right?
Oh yeah,
Hopefully everybody utilize those as a good honeymoon.
Yeah, Jet he gave us you know, his part of the Maui trip to go on our honeymoon. So
very good.
Won a few trips around the and really when we won the trips, they said that Jet and I had to go. We're like, no thanks. I'm not going to Maui with my brother. I appreciate that. Appreciate the offer. And we finally talked him into letting us, if one of us went on the trip, that they would let us go. And
perfect.
Me and my wife are newlyweds, so we went on several of those trips.
Nice. Well, you talk about, hauling your rigging bag around the world as well. One of the things that I've got to ask, I mean, you could tell that you and Jet had rodeoed before.
Oh yeah.
And it had made you guys, because you guys were extremely successful. You were definitely one of the strongest teams probably in Amazing Race history. But I would have to imagine you can attribute it to rodeo.
Yeah, it's rodeo. And I tell people it's like the 4th of July, but it doesn't hurt near as bad. I mean, that is the Amazing Race. Just plan on being tired, hungry, and lost, and that there's no surprises, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
So many challenges, but just like we talked about. I mean, there's no there's no Virgil, there's no Bodacious, there's no Red Rock. So it's there's some challenges out there that you don't really know what you got to figure out. But it's just life.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the last question on that, and speaking of the challenges and stuff, but I've always kind of wanted to ask. There was one challenge where you guys forgot your like a pirate ship bottle, little glass.
Oh my goodness!
And then they moved that boat way out into the water. That looked like that had to gas you out.
Yeah, that was where was I think we were in was that some Seychelles. I'd never even heard of it. Of course, there's several times on the Amazing Race you'd open the envelope and said, make your way to the Seychelles Islands, or like, we kind of like, me and Jet look at each other like, we have no idea where this place is, so we take a while to find it. But I guess off the coast of Africa is where it was at. And anyways, Jet and I had done all the challenges. We made it to the island. We took the boat, and you have to a deep dive to get a bottle with a map. We come up, but the thing about it is we saw the finish line. So like, we didn't know that. We're going to the finish line. So we jump off the boat and swim to the finish line. And we get to the finish line, and they said, "Oh yeah, but you don't have a map." Like, what in the world? And they said, the map is on the boat, and they had moved the boat about a mile out there. And Jet and I took off swimming in the ocean. And the only thing that kept us going, we kept going. There was a boat beside us that was filming us for the Amazing Race, and Jet and I literally just looked at if we drowned, there's somebody there to pull us out of the water. That was it. I mean, like, I that's the closest to drowning out in the open as was, but somebody's gonna revive you. That was what it was. So we swam literally a mile out to the boat and a mile back.
Holy crap.
And the next day they I guess they got on the guys for moving the boat too far, and we got like a 30-minute credit for swimming out there to the boat. But yeah, that was
I mean, we're just watching it. I was like, man, that looked like a workout, man. That was
it was
nobody else. I mean, nobody else was gonna be able to not do it.
It was so bad. I couldn't do it. It's one of those things in life that you couldn't do it, but there's just not another option. I couldn't do it again. I guarantee you. And I remember you swim out there, and you'd be inhaling a lot of gas, because the boat that was filming beside you was a little old gas boat. It was just like it was bad. A lot of things flashed before you there swimming across the ocean like that.
I just wanted to make sure and bring it up, because things like that, who knows how many rodeo fans, how many fans of Cowboys you all created that day. I guarantee you there was millions of people going into their cubicle the next Monday talking about, oh my gravy. So it was really something special, honestly, and as our community, grateful for you guys doing that and representing us so well. But
there was another the very next leg of the race. There was a deal, and I've never got to interview about it and talk about it, but there was I don't know, it's like this other god or whatever that you had to. That was one part of the challenge that you had to worship that one or whatever. And Jet and I were last place, and of course that was the easiest thing. You just had to deliver this stuff, or the toughest challenge in the world. This challenge that nobody could do. Like, the wind's blowing 80 miles an hour, and we went to college in Weatherford, Oklahoma. Like, it's windy like that, and these huge monster flags that you had to like balance on your head and like jog 100 yards. And Jet and I were in last place, thinking that we're fixing to be eliminated, all that. And I remember Jet and I having conversations like, we're not going to do that. Like, that's the choice that we're not going to make. We're going to take the tough thing. We're going to do this one over here. And if you ever watch that episode, there was something. I mean, I put this huge flag on my forehead, and the flag goes to fall down, and the wind just like picks it up. And in the first try, I run 100 yards with the flag balanced on my head, and it was like, wow, God's pretty powerful. I mean, this is crazy stuff. It's so there's so many experiences like that you get to see God work in mysterious ways. So it's sure.
Yeah.
It's cool, but I mean, I'm sure everybody has a life like that you really just recognize it. Like, I made this decision, and now I reap my reward. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And you had to spread your message a little bit longer.
Yeah.
No, that's good, man. That's really good. And so then, you get back from that, and obviously you've been around rodeo. You guys have had rodeo animals your entire life, been around it and worked it. But man, going into that, having some success, just getting the stock contract inside of things going, and you've had a multitude of great rodeo animal athletes. But I got to ask, you got a 3-time world champion at home, an ABBI fraternity champion, a 2-time PBR world champion, and riding solo. And I know you talk about riding solo a lot, but what a great animal athlete.
6'12" riding solo has been such a blessing to our family. I mean, he opened so many doors. It's, I don't know, it's like having Michael Jordan on your team. I mean, you automatically sell tickets. You get to go where you want to do, and you get to do things. And when I would call a livestock director saying that, I want to go to Madison Square Garden, New York City, what do you got? I got riding solo. You're in. So it opens a lot of doors. I've been, LA to New York City with riding solo, and what an amazing bull. I mean, if you've ever just realized how much these bulls love the sport, because Solo's a big pet. Like Sarah and Tulsa give him baths all the time. Like he is a big pet. But you put him in that buck and shoot, like he means business. And I tell people it's like a boxer. It's like turning on a switch. When he gets in there, like it's go time. He's got a halter on him, and literally the halter is to help hold him still until the guy nods his head. That you can turn him loose, because he's like a thoroughbred racehorse. He wants to go so bad. But such a blessing in our lives, and we're watching what he's doing now in his genetics. The offspring have that same power and that same excitement that he's passing on, and that kind of made the retirement in May pretty easy. When you see these 3-year-olds that are coming, I think most of them will be introduced professionally in 26. I think everybody kind of understands, like, you don't need to work no more. Look at them babies.
For sure.
So that's kind of what we're betting on right now.
Yeah, a lot of them have that same explosion off their front feet and gathering that front end. And it's so funny, when I think of riding solo, actually, the first time I had got to see him live or in person was up in Brush, Colorado. Actually, I believe he was a 3-year-old that year.
Yep.
And just even in the pen and the way that he kind of was moving, I was like, man, this is an athlete now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he looks like Muhammad Ali in the fluidity of his movement. And then obviously, he, you're right. Like he fought that shoot a little bit or whatnot.
Yeah.
I was like,
he
this
wants
is,
it.
This is a bucking bull now. But
it's hard to understand when you're around him the rest of the time that he's just like, just like awkwardly gentle. Like he would be offended if you walked by his pen and didn't stop by and pet him and be like, "Hey, man, awesome. I thought we were friends." That's that's Solo. And and I try to do every signal that I can to let Solo know what's going on. And when we would put the halter on when we're getting ready to go, and we would change his nutrition, the location of where he's eating and what he's doing to get ready for events. And now that he's retired, we've taken him to a lot of events, but I always kind of make it a little different. Like we'll put him in the other delivery, like to know that you don't have to work when you get in this. And I think he's just now starting to be like, he's starting to understand retirement. That's awesome. I just got to strut out in the arena and let people clap. I don't have to do anything anymore. There's nobody battling against him or trying to ride him. So it's neat to watch him now literally hang up the halter and then experience the retirement that he deserves now.
Yeah, that's so great, man. And like I said, I just absolutely love that side of our sport. Obviously, I think it's what makes us the best sport, right? Is that all the different animal athletes that we work with, whether it's a bovine or an equestrian athlete, and what they bring to the table from a superstar perspective. And 6'12" is darn sure a superstar. And you've got a couple more, like I said, a lot of them coming up. But here we are getting ready to go into round 6. But last night, I didn't see the judges' seats or anything, but I'd be hard pressed to think that there's much better than Pegasus last night. I mean, he gassed it.
It was a matchup of a lifetime. Talk about Stetson Wright in the TV pen. It was last bull out. Of course, I think me and 17,000 other people wish he had rode him 8 seconds. They give the go around buckle if they win the go around, and you wouldn't have to look at the other rides if it'd got him stuck. But Pegasus is one we bought that bull and with the same dreams and hope like this could be the next world champion, and we've kind of never lost track of that. We've had a little trouble. If you see him now, he lost a horn, had a little bit of horn infection that into several months of work on his horn just to get him 100% and ready to go. And I think he's getting to that spot. You kind of watch what that bull can do at 100% now. So one round last night, less than 8 seconds gets me pretty pumped about what's happening in 2026. Like you're laying out a schedule of where this bull's going to go, what he's going to do, that I can give him the best chance to own another world champion bucking bull. And it's those bulls at that caliber, they have their own schedule. They're doing their own thing, their own nutrition, their own exercise, and their own performances that you want to give them the best opportunities that you can.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see his second out. You've got a few others that have been really good already this week, but it showed out last night in a big way. I mean, I think he really made a statement.
Blue Duck kind of gave me chills this week, and when I was walking down the alley there and see Blue Duck kind of getting loaded up in there, and the reason was that bull was raised by Jerome and Tiffany Davis out in North Carolina, and been 30 years since Jerome won the world title in the PRCA, and it feels like that there's a separation that long until and I feel like they come back. They raised the bull. We just recognized him and made the investment. So when that bull was kind of coming up the alley to buck, of course I sent Jerome and Tiffany some pictures, and they were pumped. And this year I ordered 2 stock contractor jackets, one for me and one for Tiffany Davis actually. So those animals they carry so much. They're part of the family, and to fill in a big gap from 30 years ago, what it feels like to be at the NFR to watch your bull walk up that tunnel to buck. And he had a great out. Like he bucked hard. Another one that we've been using as a sire around there as well, and just kind of getting the first experience with the yearling bucking bulls that he can do. So we're pretty pumped about Blue Duck too.
Yeah, I'm so glad you shared that story. I didn't realize that, and you're right. What a special moment or whatnot to come full circle, and 30 years from Jerome's world title, and to be right there in the Thomas and Mack again with a great bull. And like I said, he fired too, and it was great. And speaking of those young ones, be remiss to not mention, most likely, hopefully, get to see you in Fort Worth a week, get home, and are only home for less than a week. And
for sure. I think we only entered like 25 heads. So you'll see plenty of us.
That's what I was getting at.
Plenty of us.
Yeah. And anyone in particular with the ABBI big bucks and things that you might have.
You know what? Like it's like a little, kids on the playground. You start kind of easing around there playing soccer, and the next thing you know, you start realizing this kid's got a lot of talent. And this kid really likes it. He's got to drive. And I think that's where we're at. The bulls are yearlings. They don't really even turn 2 till spring next year. But there's a couple of them starting to peek out there that that hey, this we mean business. We come to win, and it's cool just to see that at a young age. And one of them, I call him Red River, but my dad had his full dispersal. My family did. My dad's full dispersal. So we got him out of that. So it's neat to watch him and. One to come from my dad and to cheer him on. Few other ones, but man, they're little athletes. And you talk about a breeding program, whether you're cutting horses or barrel horses. Bucking bulls is the same way. It's a breeding program, and you watch what those females can pass on, because now we're bucking most of the little heifers anymore to buck them to try to hurry it up. We do quite a bit in the embryo transfer program, so we flushed a lot of solo daughters to Manhater this year. So those will be coming on. I mean, it's a fast moving train on that deal over there. So it's fun, and it happens fast. So it's good to watch it.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure. So thankful and grateful for the opportunity, like I said, to kind of be a voice for some of those young athletes a lot of time at those ABBIs, and it's awfully special. And I just absolutely love watching those young athletes, kind of like I knew you knew them when, right before the riding solos or on the, the biggest stages under the brightest lights and becoming their own superstars. So the other piece too that I wanted to make sure, because I have just been so, obviously, the sport of bull riding and everything else, and where it's going, where the PBR is going, and some of the different doors that have opened, with the PBR teams championships, and man, man, you've done such a fantastic job on the broadcasting side of things, and have really, again, represented the sport really well. And how was that transition, right? Because it's not necessarily like you had a massive experience in that, like you had with all of the rodeo, and to really dip your, tip your hat into that arena, and it's going really well, and you're doing a great job with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're around rodeo, I mean, if you're in Vegas, of course, we sit around and we talk nothing about rodeo and matchups. So it's kind of just talking the same thing that you're going to be talking about in the locker rooms, in the lobby, and on the phone all week long. And it kind of started awkward. Matt West and Kate Harrison, they asked me if I'd come help a deal in Oklahoma City, and run up there and did that real quick, and kind of come home. And it was kind of a no paying job, but you glad you did. You got to experience it, and then next thing I know, they asked me to go to Nashville. I was like, well, I didn't even get paid for Oklahoma City. I'm not going to go to Nashville to do that one. And but it definitely just opened the door up to sit behind the desk with Craig Hummer, and that guy is amazing. And I think the producers are great, so they lay it out for you to tell the story of bull riding and the matchups and the coaching and the different ways that they're doing this. They're training their guys during the week and what they're doing to put their best 5 guys on the best matchups that they can. So it's neat to be able to sit back and explain that. But coaching a couple of years definitely kind of gets you a behind the scenes view of what that is, and being a stock contractor, what these bull riders or stock contractors are prepping them to do, and whether it be the different chute, the different ground that everybody's looking at, and looking at the depth of your team's roster. Definitely a lot of different ways to look at it. So there's even if it's a 2-hour show, there's more than 2 hours to talk about in bull riding and different ways to go about it. But it's quite an honor just to get the opportunity to be on the telecast team. But as long as they just talk about bull riding, pretty good.
You're dialed in.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've done a great job with it, man. And like I said, there's a lot to talk about when you're talking about the PBR teams championship and that sort of thing. And in overall scheme of things, is obviously still relatively new, and I believe it's just catching momentum. And I love going into an event. I'll just go in there by myself and just kind of check the production, the crowd, how they're responding to certain things. And when you start to see a lot of non-rodeo people, let's say, but they got a jersey on, from the Texas Rattlers or the New York Mavericks and the Florida Freedom and all over the country. It's really such a unique dynamic that's just now getting started. And how do you feel that the teams has impacted the sport of bull riding? Where do you see it taking us?
Oh, it's good when you think about more opportunities, more money, a lot of different ways to do it, and whether you like it or not, any outside money that you bring into our sport, I think is good, because other than that, then we're just guys jackpotting against each other. You put your 20 in, I put my 20 in, and we see who gets 40. I mean, that's the way bull riding's been for a long time. So anyway, we can bring new TV, new sponsorships, it's good. Sometimes even if it doesn't work, I mean, that we can try that, we can bring that in, and we can roll that around.
Things just figure out what works and gets better and better.
It's been a success so far. And the thing about bull riding, it's pretty simple. You can have coaches, you can have bull teams, you can do all the things that you want, but at some point, this guy has got to take a wrap around his hand and nod his head. And there's an 1,800-pound bull that doesn't care about any team, any jersey, any amount of money, and it is the truest sport of head-to-head combat that there is. You can fake basketball, you can fake football, you can probably even throw yourself down in boxing. I've never done any of those, but I'm just saying that you can't tell riding solo. Let's take it easy today.
Yeah.
Even in practice. So no matter how much people or anybody would try to fake it, rodeo is the realest sport in the world.
Yep.
And it's I guess that's what makes me addicted and attracted to it, to even share it more, of like, it's real. It's real stuff.
It really is. And that's exactly it. To your point, is at the end of the day, it's still a head-to-head, combat sport in a sense, and like I said, there is no days off with those ranked bucking bulls, and like I said, you mentioned the money a couple of different times. Sometimes I feel like it's been understated, maybe needs to be highlighted a little bit more. When you look at the history of money and like the world champion or the top one down to 100, let's say, when you're looking at a UTB season of 6 months and then going into the teams, the amount of money that Jose Vitor Leme and John Crimmer that they accumulated between the 2 seasons last year is staggering when you look at the overall scheme of things. And then the opportunities that come from that, whether it's endorsements and everything else. And so I think the sky's the limit, because it's just getting started, and a lot of different opportunities are about to open, I believe.
It is. It's great. It feels like each bull rider kind of has their own little personal business that they need to run. There are a few agents out there that are involved in it, and I'm not saying that's good or bad or different, but it's still your business. Whether it's picking the agent or the way that you're going about it. But for me, it wasn't like I was the best bull rider in the world. There was a lot of years. I would win enough money to be able to afford to save more heifers. I didn't have to sell them. I mean, literally built my program just one small chip at a time. And and I never won the world, but made enough to invest in control and contacts. I mean, it's an opportunity in front of a lot of guys out there. And I know sometimes you get the breaks and sometimes you don't. Sometimes I didn't think I didn't get the breaks and I'm still a success. So to make excuses is there's somebody way worse off than us. So
exactly.
It's a fun game and a good grind. It's good people. I think that's what keeps you involved, because there are plenty of years, plenty of months, plenty of weeks that you're like, this is terrible, I'm quitting. But I think the support behind it, and there's a lot of other reasons behind it than just the almighty dollar. I mean, there's probably a lot of easier places to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I could see that. When you look at the teams too, and the money and everything else, but then from a competition's perspective, it creates so many opportunities where those guys have to make the whistle. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday with Lostro, but if you have to make the whistle and get to that full 8 seconds, and those guys bear down like that, that's when magic happens. In the sport of bull riding, and especially when it came down to the championships there at the end. And so it's been fun to watch you go through that and to just become such a superstar on behind the camera as well. But and then the other piece of it, and just continuing, like you said, kind of on your mission of growing our demographic and representing our sport, moving in now to the Hondo Rodeo and your involvement with the Hondo and the Hondo success. I believe there's been 2 with a third one on the way coming up in April 11th, 12th, and 13th or whatnot. Now at the Superdome in New Orleans. Tell us a little bit about the Hondo and how that's getting going.
Well, that's one of those, you talk about the friends that you make in the past, and just being there and grinding away. Sometimes I feel like I just answered the right call. You know what I mean? That I had the opportunity, and Jerome Robinson was always a hero of mine in rodeo production, and he helped me. I remember calling him when I was doing my first rodeo production meeting. I'm like, I had my pen and paper out. I was like, I had him walk me through everything that I needed to check and what I needed to do. I mean, from wiping down chutes to timing to the national anthem to bucking the last bull, selling the show. So I'd been preparing that and doing that for a while, doing my own events for a while. So when the call come in, if I would be interested in, being a part of the Hondo Rodeo, and kind of what it all meant and what it was all going on, of course I said yes. But we're 18 months in before we even produced the very first event in Phoenix, and flying around, shopping every stadium, what it's going to take, all the different details from steel to dirt to tickets to contestants, etc. So a lot of work goes into it. And talk about the team of 5 guys that grinded it out until it happened. And to watch year one, even from Thursday night to Saturday night, if you were there, and to watch it just kind of develop, it was just so cool to watch, rodeo grows so fast in front of your own eyes. And Phoenix this year was a big success. I think 94,000 fans come to watch it. And now they're talking TV deals and everything else that they can do it. But keeping rodeo simple. Like this. We got an amazing sport. I've been around the world. We got the best product. Just share it.
Yeah.
I don't have to reinvent the wheel. My job is to take what American cowboys have made for hundreds of years and to share it. And so I take a lot of responsibility in that. But I don't have to redo it. I take a great production. I take great livestock, and I take great contestants, and I add it together, and I just let the magic happen.
Yeah.
And that's you talk about last night, round 5 being so great. Round 5 in almost every aspect, they call it the TV pin. Like the people putting the draw together knew that this was special. This is special elements that they're putting together. So I don't think round 5 is an accident. But I'm like you. Let's do it more often. That's fun. That's fun to watch.
Exactly. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. And the opportunity now to move from Phoenix, having 2 big successes, and go to somewhere like New Orleans and such a historical, fantastic arena, if you will, the Superdome. I am thrilled. And then the musical lineup that you guys have gotten every time. I mean, it's just been great. I had a firsthand testimony, if you will, just yesterday, actually, here in Vegas, they seem to keep going, but just yesterday I had Kincaid Henry on.
Oh yeah.
We talked about the Hondo and his success, winning Phoenix and the amount of money that he was able to obtain, and so we mentioned the money, but where he was going and why he thought it was the greatest rodeo he'd ever been in a sense, was it was the biggest crowd he'd ever performed in front of. He talked about how it was packed from foul line to foul line, and young 23-year-old tie-down superstar, he's been on the biggest stages in rodeo, and so I thought that was a great testimony of what you guys are accomplishing and doing from an athlete standpoint.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I'm on all those conference calls from music singers to rodeo contestants, and I feel like I'm representing the rodeo contestants. If Garth Brooks needs it, I need it too. You know what I mean? That's in a sense you kind of fight for it of like, our locker rooms, our catering, our experience, taking care of their families. I mean, I've been that guy. I mean, I've been that guy that the gate man will barely let you in, and send your wife, a mile around to come in the main gate. So some of that little stuff is, simple gestures, but man, these guys, their families deserve it. I mean, I want them to look forward to it, even if they don't win, to come and feel like I had the best opportunity, $1 million that anybody could give me. That this company did everything I could to help me compete, to enjoy my time, and to do it. So. Try to hold all those things up to represent the Hondo Rodeo. I mean, that's what it is, and I think people like it so far. So hopefully do a few more of them. And I love the music side of it is pretty cool. I mean, all of those headliners. I mean, I think they realize and get a heads up on the rodeo. Next thing they're behind the chutes, and Zach Brown was behind the chutes. I'm like, somebody catch this guy, because he's gonna fall off, and then. All the guys, Riley Green, John Party, all of them in the arena. What was it? The Oak Revival. What
Treaty Oak.
Yeah, Treaty Oak Revival. So I'm in the calf roping over there, and we're next up, but next thing I got to see like 5 guys over in the corner, kind of stand in the arena. And I went, chewed them out. Hey, well, you got to get out of the arena. Get behind the gate, whatever. I didn't know it was Treaty Oak Revival, so I had to apologize to those guys. Yeah. I was like, somebody had them in the arena over there, and they wasn't in the way, but they was all wearing T-shirts and ball caps, and not that there's some huge rules, but they caught me off guard, and I'm kind of like arena producer. I'm like, hey, get out of the arena.
That's right.
So we found a spot for people like that.
Yeah, you let your Benny Butler
get us. Well, no, it wasn't that extreme. But I guess my dad come out at me real fast. I'm like, hey, what are you doing in here? But but we do want to share it with everybody that hasn't seen. I mean, they don't know where to be. I mean, maybe they've never even been on an arena floor before, so made it a special time for them. But
what a cool experience! Like I said, to even share that and share the same stage, with those guys, and the fans love it. I mean, it's the combination of rodeo and music goes back for decades or whatnot, but you know, when you provide an arena like that with, you know, 30,000, 40,000 people,
Yeah.
It gets electric real quick. So.
Yeah, we talked him into putting quite a bit of money into like pyros and stuff. So I mean, we try to make that opening and the ceremonies, you know, American and patriotic and God family. So we want people to feel like they're obligated to be in there for that opening and all the way through the bull riding, you know, and the caliber of bulls and rock and roll kind of in that as well. So we want people to get the full experience. And I just keep pushing that, and that people don't like show up late for the rodeo just to catch the concert. Man, I feel like we've got an opportunity to build those rodeo fans, and most of them, we might only have one shot at them. So for that 2 hours from 6 to 8 o'clock is mine. I'm giving it to them. I'm giving them the best they've ever seen. So that's kind of the goals anyways.
Oh, for sure. And that should ultimately be our goal every day. You know, like I said, representing this sport, representing our lifestyle, and you're doing it at the highest level, man. I mean, I sure do appreciate you coming in here today and chatting with me for a little bit. Sure. You know, I mean, honestly, you're one of the great guys here in all of rodeo. You know, I've had other endeavors or whatnot, and you had supported me there, and I'm sure to appreciate you doing it again right here, right now, man. It's a testament of you as a cowboy and a man, and I appreciate you, man. And so look forward to seeing you in Fort Worth after this. Good luck the rest of the NFR. Can't wait. When's Blue Duck out now?
So Ugly This goes tonight, and I think Blue Duck's tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. And then will Pegasus be out?
Pegasus be around 10.
Yeah, very good. Very good, man. Well, we'll be keeping an eye on them and rooting them on, and hope that maybe you head down to the South Point, get yourself one of those.
Oh, for sure. It'd be such a blessing someday.
Very good, Cord. Well, thank you so much for being here, man. Sure to appreciate you. But for right now, folks, that's another episode here live from the Virgin Hotel here in Las Vegas on the Equus Radio Network, the Woodshed with Cody Wood. Thank you all so much for being here with us again and get a chance to kind of hear Cord McCoy's story, all the different elements that he's got going on. We talked about it, you know, got a lot of irons in the fire, and a lot of them are getting hot. So it's great to see. And thank you once again to Leviate Air Group for everything they've done to help support the show and in the Western way of life. So, folks, for now, I got another great guest right around the corner, so don't go far. We'll be coming live to you from the Virgin here in just a few minutes. But for now, thanks again.